Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Michigan International Speedway for the 13th race in the 2021 NRSL Jerky Pro Truck Series. We're here for 40 laps of action. Charles Sanford on the pole with Baranowskis to his outside, and I am joined in the booth by Vince Freeze.
Irish Hills in Michigan, we are now beckoned upon us. Charles Sanford and Zach says on pole. Baranowskis the top regular. Interesting place here. We've only been here once. We'll talk more about that in the pre-race notes. And of course, Zach, it's Michigan with the 101-degree conditions. Let's see how that plays out in the slick, hot conditions today.
Row 2 is Henry Sanford and James Ellison. Row 3, Dylan Ibrahimian, Nico Tringali. Row 4, Gatlin Downey and Patrick Smith. And in row 5, Jack James and Quinton Moore. So we'll go through the rest of the starting lineup as Vince goes over our brief and short race notes.
Yep, Chris Dodd won the second closest finish in the history of the channel by .014. That was back in 2017. And the race notes, heavy tire wear. With the cloudier conditions, the horsepower will be turned up. The draft is always important at the start, which could be a good indicator of what the times will be doing in the first couple laps. And with the fall off over 3 seconds and field window uncertain, it should be interesting to see if we'd see an undercut versus overcut. With the tire fall off, I would say an undercut could get you 5 to 10 spots if you're at the back, depending on pit road entry. And at the front, you can protect the lead if you're up a couple seconds. But like I said, with the draft and the top side also evolving, it should be interesting as the race goes on.
Struggling in qualifying, we see Bradley Ream and Donovan Cage. Cage, the Speedway master himself, struggling in qualifying here today at Michigan. He'll have to work his way up from the back if he wants any shot at a good finish. Same with Yael Carrillo. And our most recent Jerky Pro Truck Series regular winner, Colt Hudson, also starting from the mid-pack. Points battle has really shaken up now. New points leader, Audra Baranowskis, starting second. Zach Rogers now second in the points, 6 points back. Gatlin Downey falls to third, 28 behind. Max Anderson fourth, 44 points back. And James Ellison fifth, 47 points back after today. 8 races remaining. And the 9-race stretch of races that started back at Texas also ends today here at Michigan. So as mentioned, this is the last race in the 9-race stretch, Vince. The big stretch, as you called it. 2 weeks off after today, heading into Talladega, followed by Pukekohe, Oswego Dirt, Bristol Dirt. A real wild stretch of races coming up.
Yeah, you got to be good everywhere. And it's hard to say be good everywhere because Talladega and Pukekohe are known for tracks to be wild cards, the dirts as well. I think it's been interesting, right? We've had a lot of Leach winners in this 9-race stretch. We've had some surprises. We had the North Wilkesboro surprise, the short track stretch where you didn't want to be the leader. And we ran it at the 2-miler where Charles Sanford won at the sister track at Auto Club. It should be interesting to follow today. And the points battle is heating up between the top 3. In this 9-race stretch, we've had a couple, as we'll talk about during the broadcast, stretch themselves from the field. In typical Baranowskis, Rogers, Downey, Anderson, Ellison have been the 5 to watch.
Looking at the rest of the top 10, Henry Sanford has climbed his way up to 6th in the points, 63 points back. Jonathan Wong 7th now, 77 back. Carrillo 8th, 93 back. Hudson and Donovan Cage round out the top 10, 103 and 111 points back respectively. So really, that's the edge of the window there. Most points you can gain in a single race is 59 with how points are paid out. So right now, top 5, as you said, the only ones in contention. Green flag is out. We are underway at Michigan. Wasting no time, Charles Sanford will clear for the race lead. Baranowskis single file behind in second as we got a little bit of 3 wide in the middle of the pack.
And you see Ellison as the first 4 are going to try to sort it out. I think the key here, Zach, like you said, top side does have a little grip, and it's all about timing the runs at Michigan. I expect this to be a very similar to Auto Club type race to the start. Everyone's just minding their P's and Q's as we enter lap 2.
190 miles an hour at the start-finish line. See, they really don't accelerate after that point. Only 195 into turn 1, but down to about 172 in turns 1 and 2. As that camera angle will be blocked by the camper every time. Baranowski's second, Ellison third, Henry Sanford fourth, being challenged by Dylan Ibrahimian, but there you see, you just can't charge it in on the inside line.
No, I think the outside, you got to remember the aero draft, too. You can always chop the nose on the front, as you see Sanford did to Ibrahimian there. Looks like the top 5 are starting to pull away with Downey in 6th, trying to separate as well.
Downey lost the points lead after Indianapolis. Had a bad run there, trying to make up for that here today. So move up to 6th. Jack James up to 7th. So Tringali so far going nowhere. Same with Quinton Moore in the 77. In fact, Moore has fallen back a ton of spots. Right now, in the interest of the big picture, the main drivers to watch are Baranowskis and Zach Rogers, top 2 in the points, separated by just 6 points. And right now, Rogers outside the top 10. So side-by-side racing is allowing the top 5 to continue to pull away, as Ibrahimian has made it by Henry Sanford for 4th place.
Everyone's just feeling out the reference points, feeling out the grip, as you see Baranowskis. She knows she's in an interesting spot that you don't have to win the race, because the first person who wins this race usually is a leader. You just got to be the top regular. That's something we'll watch throughout the entire season, especially in Michigan as we end the stretch.
Baranowski's statistics on the year: 1 win, 5 top 5, 7 top 10s, and 3 pole positions. Almost got a 4th one here today with a starting 2nd place to Charles Sanford. But remember, Charles, he led the entire race at Auto Club, and you know, he never really got challenged. I think Baranowskis is a lot closer than anybody was before, and she is going to challenge for the lead here in turns 1 and 2 with an advantage off of turn 2. Draft help from James Ellison. And Baranowskis clears Charles Sanford for the race lead. So
That's a power move right there.
Right as we're talking about Auto Club, forget Auto Club, it's out the picture. Charles is not leading every lap here today. But there you see him fighting back on the outside of James Ellison. And you see that run he's going to get there. Ibrahimian's going to try and follow past for 3rd on the top side. And Ibrahimian's actually going to get the position.
One thing I noticed on that lap stack, the Jack James group there with Rogers, they really didn't gain much ground, even with them fighting at the front. That'll be interesting to notice the tires wear.
Jack James 6th. Wong has made it up to 7th. Tringali 8th as Zach Rogers looks for 9th on Deanna Jones. 3 of the Bulldog trucks all right here in one picture. There's Colt Hudson, your Springfield race winner. As Vince, silly season is starting to kick up a little bit. I actually forgot to tell you about some stuff, but Benjamin Ice will not be back in the 17 next season. So unknown at this time where he will go.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we're right around it. It's funny because you say we had those 2-3 week breaks. We'll start seeing that maybe in the off weeks. We'll start getting more news on that.
Meanwhile, at the front, the battle continues for 6th place between Jack James and Wong. They had closed the gap there a little bit that last lap as Ibrahimian made it up to 2nd. Charles Sanford took the lead back from Baranowskis, and now she has fallen to 4th place. And now Ibrahimian will go for the race lead.
Ibrahimian hasn't really been in winning contention much this season. This is an interesting run. But it's still early. We're about a third of the way through the pit cycle, or the run here, as we get to that pit cycle in about 16 to 17 laps.
Ibrahimian had to check up, open the door for Ellison on the outside. We'll see if Ellis can make the top side work here in turn 3. Looks like Ibrahimian will clear. Ibrahimian comes into this race 22nd in the point standings. And, man, believe it or not, Vince, Ibrahimian has not finished in the top 10 once this year.
Yeah, let alone the top 5. I mean, this is unknown territory. Once you get to that top 5 area, passing becomes harder. You're running with the best, sometimes cuppers. As you see Baranowski's following line there. Well, it's interesting to see how he plays it out. As this race is really reminding me of Indies, that you got time to run. That's important.
So Jonathan Wong now up to 6 as Ellison makes the move again for 3rd. Can't quite get it to bite there once you go into turn 3, it seems. Jack James continuing to hold on to 7th, Tringali 8th, Rogers 9th, Indiana Jones 10th. Hudson 11th. Let's go through the field here. Benjamin Ice, Patrick Smith, Vince Freeze, the highest rookie inside the top 15. Derek Hamill having a good run. There's Carrillo. Gene Sanford started at the back. Ooh, almost contact there with Brad Lewis. That sent Brad Lewis way up the track. Gatlin Downey has fallen down to 22nd. Max Anderson struggling in 29th. Sam Young not having a good day. Donovan Cage has been unable to move forward. Look how far back Quinton Moore has fallen. Carter Friesen also with a terrible day. His fastest lap on the race belongs to Ibrahimian with 38.742. As Baranowskis is looking for 2nd place. Look at the amount of space Ibrahimian gave her. That's going to let her take 2nd with ease.
One thing I'm noticing is that the tires are starting to fall off because you don't see many trucks just going out to the gray right there, that untouched area of asphalt. That should be interesting. Yeah, you can see the fall off there. It's about
a
8
second.
tenths, 8.5 tenths. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it seems to be a second if you're leading like Charles Sanford is. And what that's going to do is that's going to create more draft runs because now they're coming off the corners slower. It's going to increase the strength of the draft a little bit there as you see Ibrahimian making a move back for 2nd place. Baranowskis giving him just as much room, but Baranowskis was able to hold the top better than the 22. This is going to let Ellison close up a bit. Spectator cam.
Baranowskis should clear. Yep. Oh, Ellison crossed over there in the draft.
And nothing going there. So Henry Sanford has just kind of been chilling in 5th place. Nothing really going on there. Right now, it looks like, I'd say aside from Charles Sanford, who seems to have, the most experience out of these top 5, if he wasn't here, this would be a heck of a fight between Baranowskis and Ibrahimian.
Yeah, it would be, but it's not over yet. You got to remember, we have that pit stop. Do you want to be the leader? We've talked about that whole season. The leader clears the air, but also the leader has that draft, which in turn could help the fuel mileage for the pack behind. As you see the back there, it just seems like Wall's just not closing, losing time on this pack.
You make a good point there. When you're leading in these conditions, when the sun's not out, leading in these conditions makes you use even more fuel. So if we are going to have an undercut-overcut situation, I feel like we could see Charles potentially pit on his own, and that would really open the door for the 4 regular drivers behind him. Ibrahimian will take back 2nd, and it looks like Ellison might just clear Baranowskis for 3rd. Not quite. That's going to let Henry Sanford close up the distance. As Zach Rogers is looking underneath Jack James for 8th place, Tringali has made it by him for 7th. Pretty good battle right here. Hudson looking for 10th on Indiana Jones.
Just staying in line for sure.
Talked about the photo finish back in 2017, 14 1,000ths of a second. Definitely another photo finish right there for 8th place at the start-finish line. Rogers will clear for the position. Hudson clears Indiana Jones. You can just see the gap through the field. But the distance between Wong and Charles Sanford kind of just staying around 3 seconds. As the fall off for the top 5 has just suddenly hit a cliff, and it's about at 2 seconds now. Ibrahimian looking for the lead, but you just can't get the grip now. They're down to about 159 miles an hour in the corner from 172 on fresh rubber.
I got to remember, Zach, I just think with Sanford, he knows that in the Cup Series, you get these big-type runs on point races, for example, and he's had so much experience at Auto Club. He knows where to place that truck to cut off the air as well and use that front downforce. As you see, I think Baranowskis is just going to stay in line there. Thought she was going to peek out. But Ellison's starting to drift back. I wonder if they're looking for spacing for the pit stop. Maybe that second delta that the crew's telling them, stay around a second, save fuel, maybe go an extra 2 laps, and then hope for less fuel on the next stop. That's the key.
Well, Baranowskis will peek to the inside, and she'll get it to bite in turn 1. See what Ibrahimian can get here off of turn 2. It looks like Baranowskis has more grip there on the bottom. Of course, Ibrahimian will get the draft down the straightaway, and the field is very spread out compared to what we're used to, I think, at Speedways, Vince. But I'd say this is about as spread out as they were at Indianapolis.
Speaking of Speedways, man, what happened to Donovan Cage, the Speedway ringer? You think, I know he won at Rockingham, but I thought he'd be up to the top 15 by now. That is shocking for sure.
Well, that just goes to show you, we've seen how hard it is to pass up at the front. He's back there in 27th, but I think as the tire wear has grown, we're seeing the rookies struggle more. That's what we've seen so far through the year is, you might have a rookie up at the front in the beginning of the run, but once the tire wear starts to kick in, it seems they start to fade back. Vince Friese is still 13th place, so I think Friese the outlier right now. Will Parrish in 17th and Owen Miles in 20th, but only 3 rookies inside the top 20. As Baranowski is looking for second place again. This time she's got help from James Ellison. But yeah, Henry Sanford has just kind of been clinging to the draft here for about the last 10 laps.
I think she'll be good now as they battle. This Ibrahimian went up high. That should help Sanford close up. It's kind of interesting. We got 2 Sanfords bookending this first group. That's interesting.
Ellison able to fly by Ibrahimian with Baranowskis. As we're about to hit lap 20, so now we're not really sure when the pit window is, but we believe we should expect them to pit next time by, if not a few laps after. As the strength of the undercut will get stronger with every lap they go past halfway.
If you go back to Indies, I remember Baranowskis and Vince Friese, they did the undercut strategy, and they remained in their positions. And Baranowskis got passed late, but maybe it's a good move, especially with the veteran up front like Charles Sanford. The element of surprise.
I really feel like Indianapolis, while the undercut will gain you a ton of time here with about 2.5 seconds of fall off, the overcut will also be very important if you're in the draft. And considering how hard it has been to pass on the bottom, the overcut would definitely be preferred. But no one coming in this time by, as I believe Henry has just about lost touch with the draft. Deanna Jones has made it up to 9th place. Jack James now falls to 10th. There you just see they're all strung out, so it's really going to be interesting what the strategy call here is as we go 1 lap past halfway and nobody to pit road.
Yeah, I think it's all about timing this. Who wants to blink first sometimes isn't the right move. With that second run being a little longer, maybe you want to go longer in the tires to equate the fall off to be less. What is the fall off right now? Is that 3 seconds?
Almost. It's getting pretty close.
Yeah, and that's with the leader. And it seems like the leader falls off more, for sure.
And Baranowskis is getting one heck of a run. She's going to make a charge here into turn 1, but can't quite get it. Carter Friesen still struggling. Quentin Moore, Sam Young. Cage starting to move forward up to 24th. Bradley Reams made it up to 20th. Carrillo's inside the top 20. Oh, and here we go. Charles Sanford first to pit road, and the rest of the top 5 will stay out.
I think Tringali coming in?
Tringali also coming in. So the Cup drivers making a move to pit road here on lap 22 to 23. Gatlin Downey will come in. That's a good move for him.
That's a good move. When you're that far back, you got nothing to lose, I think. But for Sanford, this should be interesting. What does Baranowskis and James Ellison do?
Well, Henry Sanford has lost the draft, but he's going to be able to really throw it into pit lane entry here.
Oh, Ibrahimian looking low.
Ibrahimian looking low, but he's going to back out of it. This will give us a very good idea of who's coming into pit road. And it looks like the top 4 will pit. Somebody else is staying out. That is Deanna Jones, Jack James. Zach Rogers coming in there. That's big. Will Parrish stayed out. A lot of drivers coming in the pit road. A lot of drivers staying out. So there's Charles Sanford, Deanna Jones, Jack James, Patrick Smith, Will Parrish, R.J. Bishop, Ream, Cologne. Cage stayed out, trying for an overcut. Nereza, Roy Ribbleton, Vargas, Sam Young, Teppensaw, DeLello, Chung, Josiah Robinson, Carter Friesen, Bouchard, Logan Williams. A lot of drivers stayed out there.
Yeah, Sanford's clear of this mess, though, for the most part. Now this will be key. Where is Ellison? Where's Baranowskis on pit road? In reference to Sanford, we'll have to look at that as the third group comes in.
There goes Tringali. There goes Downey. There's Baranowskis. There's Charles Sanford on the racetrack. Ooh, I think this is going to be interesting. Oh, a little checkup there by Baranowskis. No signs of James Ellison.
Uh-oh. James Ellison and pit road's not been friendly over the years. We'll have to see what happened there.
So Sanford will be clear of the draft, but Baranowskis and Ibrahimian are nose to tail. If they can work together, they could be able to close on the 33. Tringali will move up to what would be 4th, Henry Sanford 5th, as Ellison falls to 6th, Wong 7th, Hudson 8th, Gene Sanford up to 9th, Carrillo 10th. As we'll see the rest of our drivers here come out of pit road. There's Deanna Jones. Now, Deanna will probably lose a ton of time here, but she was running 10th when she chose to stay out, so we'll see if she'll get back up to 10th or not. As Baranowskis will be passed by Dylan Ibrahimian. So much for working together.
They have that one lap fresher tire, though. We'll have to see if that plays difference or the experience of Sanford will nullify that when we get to lap 35.
15 laps to go here that time by. Sanford back in the lead, a 2.5-second lead over Ibrahimian. So they definitely got a draft here, Vince. If they don't draft, they are not going to gain anything. Charles that time by ran a 39.4, so see, 0.6 off without draft. He is only hitting 184 in the turn 3. Ibrahimian is going 189. So if they just stay single file behind, they will definitely close.
It's pretty much Indy 2.0, Zach. I think it's going to be one of those cat and mouse games. Find the reference point, and when you get to them, catching is one thing, passing is another. We'll find out in the closing stage. You see they gained about 2.5 there.
0.3 of a second difference, 39.426 to a 39.160, and about a 4-mile-an-hour difference at the start-finish line. Tringali, however, is not closing. He's still running 39.4s as well, so those could be some extra points for Ellison, Henry Sanford, Wong, and Colt Hudson as they almost go 3 wide there. Gene Sanford up to 9th, Carrillo 10th. As Zach Rogers is fighting with Vince Freeze on track for 11th.
Yeah, interesting combo right there. We've seen these guys battle it out on pit road in Martinsville the last time I remember.
The gap is down to 1.8 seconds at the front. Once Ibrahimian catches the draft of Charles Sanford, it will definitely increase tenfold. Jack James fell to 13th. Deanna Jones only fell to 15th place on the overcut there, so not a bad call. Donovan Cage didn't really lose anything, so he avoided a super busy pit road. He's still 22nd. He's got the freshest tires on the track, Vince. This man might have a top 20 in sight.
Speaking of someone who I thought would be up there, be Downey. He didn't do much.
Now, that undercut did not really pan out, and he's still 26th. Patrick Smith lost a ton of time. Sam Young didn't really gain anything. Quinton Moore still 37th. Max Anderson fell to 40th. Laura Chung in last place.
Yeah, they're catching now, Zach. It's a matter of time now.
Ellison trying to pass teammate Tringali, trying to get 3 more points for the championship. You know, Baranowskis is up here in 3rd. Ellison's got to get all he can to minimize the damage. He came in 47 back. You know, Baranowskis just has not had a bad day in a while. Ellison's bad day at Springfield really hurt him.
I think what magnifies the problem now, Zach, is that Baranowskis has probably got a shot at the win. Ellison, I don't see him making enough 5 seconds. I just don't see it.
He can't even get by Nico Tringali. Delon Ibrahimian got his first career win a year ago at Chicagoland, which is where we go for the finale this year and next. And Ibrahimian's looking to get career win number 2. There are a ton of drivers who have gotten just a single career win in Jerky Pro Truck Series history. So getting that second career win really breaks you apart from the rest of the winners.
Got a shot. Chicagoland, we didn't even mention it, has some, not all, but some characteristics to Michigan, especially with the asphalt on this version here. I wonder if this is all about the timing now, Zach. He's in the wake. He's starting to see where Sanford's weaknesses and strengths are in the turns, especially the straights. Let's see what happens.
Gap really closed in there once he got in the wake, but as we saw with Tringali, catching is one thing, passing is another, as Ellison will finally get by. They closed the gap there somewhat. 4.7 seconds for Ellison there in 4th, but I think just not enough time. Zach Rogers is losing positions. To another point, Ibrahimian has pulled away from Baranowskis while catching Charles Sanford. 8 laps to go at the start-finish line.
And about 2.5 tenths, maybe just 2 tenths now. It's getting spicy now. They're 2 tenths. This is it. Yeah, just looking on onboard there, Zach, you just see Sanford has a little bit better entry, but Ibrahimian on exit with the draft. He seems to be the more powerful truck right now. So we're going to 3 and 4. Let's see what we got.
Let's see what Ibrahimian can do here. Mid-corner, it's about the same. I feel like Charles' experience is making up for that difference in tires. You know, it's only a 1-lap difference, but Ibrahimian will still be here in the draft. 7 to go. What can Ibrahimian do?
And that's the problem. Where do you make the move? Unlike Indy, where you know there's like 1 and 2, you got to make the move. Here, you can make it anywhere, but if you don't make it at the right time, you're probably going to fall back and bring Baranowskis back in the mix. Let's see what he does here.
Ibrahimian just kind of getting as close as he can. Baranowskis is not really closing the gap at all. Charles pulls away into turn 3. So maybe that tire advantage is starting to stabilize.
At Auto Club, Yael Carrillo, if I'm not mistaken, he was trying to make a run towards the end of that race, and he just could never get close. I remember it was 2 or 3 to go. He looked underneath, and he got arrow blocked and never really looked back. Let's see if this is the same verse here, second song.
Well, Ibrahimian not really getting anything going. Tringali is still clinging to 5th place. Wong 6th, Henry Sanford 7th, Gene Sanford 8th. Good day for the Sanfords, all in the top 10. Hudson 9th. And Jack James in 10th. As Donovan Cage has made it up to 21st place. He will have to get by Bradley Ream if he wants a top 20. How about Colton Schwartz? 18th place on track. Will Parrish, Vince Freeze, Mitchell Collins, all inside the top 20. Good day for those rookies. And Deanna Jones. But Deanna, of course, has some cup experience. Ibrahimian, he's just right there, but he just can't seem to get enough to make a move.
He's just studying it out. I think he's just studying it out. I think this is just maybe with intent. Let's not show our hand too early and have Sanford come back at us. But he's just losing time at 3 and 4, and that's where the finish line is.
And while he continues to just get right up to the bumper of Charles Sanford, they are pulling away from Baranowskis. They're basically just drafting together. And they are continuing to pull away from her. See, Charles is about half a tenth of a second faster that last lap. The time is running out for Ibrahimian. So in the point of the strategy game, Vince, we saw some trucks be able to go 24 laps. With our cup race being 50 laps tomorrow, if the weather ends up being clear, we could see a 1-stop in the cup race as well.
Yeah, it depends on the conditions, too. Today we're at 100 degrees here. I mean, this is extraordinary heat. God bless the fans. And surviving this. But in reality, I think this should be interesting. Tire wear with the Cup package is a little different than the trucks. The draft's a little bit different with the trucks compared to the Cup series, but it just seems like, Zach, you were right. I think we talked about this. Sanford's experience nullifies that one lap gain on tires from Ibrahimian.
And he is starting to extend the gap now. The draft is just kind of going away, and Charles is pulling away from Ibrahimian.
It's just better than 3 and 4. Ibrahimian was trying to go lower to sniff a clean air on the nose, but doesn't really do anything. And if you notice in the 1 and 2 here, 2 to go, they go a little higher as the tires wear to try to get a higher arc corner entry. And that seems to be just more of a Cup thing they do. It's not really something the truck guys are used to. That's a advantage there for Sanford.
Well, the top 3 will not change. Jonathan Wong has made it up to 5th. So Wong could be looking for 3 more points if he can get by James Ellison here, which he's making the move on him right now. Ellison will give him the line. White flag will be in the air this time by. Tringali is going to help Jonathan Wong down the front straightaway. 3 wide now, looking for 4th place.
He'll get tight. Ooh, Ellison gets sniffed up. That's points, valuable points he's going to lose here.
Oh, that's going to cost Ellison 6 points unless he can get back by Tringali.
Charles Sanford out front. What can we say? A 2-mile master.
Got the win back at Auto Club. Has had a top 5 and 2 top 10s in the 3 races since. He'll join Nate Rogers as a 2-time winner on the season. Charles Sanford wins at Michigan. And looking at the standings, Ellison will hold on to 5th place.
That's vital for the championship for sure.
Tringali 6th, Gene Sanford 7th, Henry Sanford 8th. Colt Hudson 9th and Jack James 10th. 13th place for Zach Rogers. That is huge championship implications with where Baranowski's finished. Cage 18th. Downey 27th place. Max Anderson 39th. Quentin Moore 38th. Not the day for Q Moore at all. But yeah, that'll do it for us here today from Michigan. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Digital Storm Cup Series.
I know.